Hey y'all! If you haven't seen me around Instagram or Nancy Drew streams, let me introduce myself. I'm Southern Sleuth and I love all things mystery and Nancy Drew. I am so excited to be posting my very first official YouTube video for my very first official YouTube series. I hope you enjoyed my intro. I really don't have the best editing skills, but I thought putting my animals in it made it a little cuter and distracted from my lack of skills. But don't worry, the animals all got paid in treats for their time. But just as exciting, did you happen to recognize the voice at the end? It's not me. Put it in the comments if you know who it was, because I was fangirling so hard. Also, let me know if you think the intro is too long, and I can do a condensed version of it for the remaining videos. Alright, before I get to rambling, let's get to what the series is all about. Welcome to part 1 of my series, Nancy Drew Character Analysis. What breed of dog would each Nancy Drew video game character have? To set some parameters, I am purely using the character's PC game depictions for this analysis and not pulling from books, movies, or TV shows, or any fancy character lore, as much as y'all love it. I will be primarily going off of stereotypes about the dogs in regards to the characters' personalities, taking their locations and jobs into secondary consideration. Video number 1 will be focusing on all of our main characters with the exception of our heroine herself, due to the fact that she has a dog, but we don't know its breed. Which is nothing against Togo, of course. I don't know Lilo's breed, but she's pretty dang awesome. We need more Togo in the games, specifically specify what his breed is. And also I wouldn't mind Lilo being in the games, but since these are our main characters, these breeds will be main well-known dogs. After this video, I will be using a randomizer, much like the one Jetpack of Gooba and Jetpack is using for her Nancy Drew Tiny Home Sims builds, to pick which game comes next instead of doing them in order. And if you haven't seen Jetpack's Tiny Home builds, I will link it in the description and you should go watch. I would like to live in the train one, thank you. So everyone knows that I love animals, so starting off my YouTube series with them just makes sense. Dogs are a huge part of our lives, and even if you don't own one directly, they still affect you. They're herders, guardians, hunters, service dogs, companions, and so much more. So without further ado, let's get sleeping, y'all. First up, and in no particular order, we have Bess Marvin, one of Nancy's very best friends and the cousin of George Fane. We've seen her fawn over really cute things before, and her comment in Shattered Medallion leads me to believe that she would love to have a cute dog of her own. When I think of a cute little dog, the first one that comes to mind, besides Lilo, is a Yorkie Terrier. If Bess got a little dog like that, she would bring it around with her absolutely everywhere. Maybe if there had also been a stolen dog during Ransom, the music might have been a little bit more dramatic and Nancy might have gotten Cuckoo her fruit a little faster. Anyways, so in the games, Bess is usually the one trying to convince Nancy not to go into danger. She prefers doing the cozy things and would definitely prefer popping popcorn and watching someone else on a big screen in danger than live it out herself, kind of like her movie watching in Tomb of the Lost Queen. But her fear never stops her from doing what Nancy needs done to solve the case. The Yorkie is often seen as small, dainty, and prim, but I've seen them be feisty, brave, and even bossy. Like our Bess, the Yorkie is not going to let their loved one face danger alone. Yorkies and Bess have big personalities and so much love to give, so for me this was an easy match. Second on my list is Bess's cousin, George Fane. As Nancy's other best friend, she is one of our beloved main characters. Throughout the games she appears in, we get to see her as a good puzzle solver, a tech geek, and a little sporty adventurer. In some ways she's the opposite of Bess, but the two cousins share their love of each other, Nancy, and getting justice. So I didn't want to go the total opposite with something like a Great Dane. So I chose another terrier for George, like Bess's, except this one has a little bit more athleticism. For George, I ended up choosing a Jack Russell Terrier. They're high energy, sporty dogs who even love water activities and long runs. George has been seen going for jogs and even sailing in some of the games when we call her, so Jack Russell would be a great little companion for that. I also read Jack Russells don't do well with being bored. It can make them really destructive. So reading this reminded me of George's behavior when the plane was grounded in Shadow Ranch and she was scrambling for any entertainment she could find. But the funniest image I came up in my head was Jack Russells were originally bred to be fox hunters, and while we've never actually stuck George's head in a foxhole, although I think that could be really funny for a future game, She has helped us chase down culprits into their foxholes, and I mean, that's basically the same thing, right? So, Jack Russell for George it is. Next on the list, which will not surprise anyone, is Ned Nickerson, Nancy's longtime boyfriend. With how often the poor guy is left home alone while Nancy is gallivanting around the world, a dog would be great for his morale and keep him company. Coming up with Ned's breed was extremely easy once I came across this internet phrase, golden retriever boyfriend, which is essentially a guy who's like kind, loving, and while a bit naive, loyal, and wears his heart on his sleeve. Thankfully for Nancy, they're pretty forgiving too, and would rather wag their tails than get over a fight over choices made in Iceland. So Ned gets a beautiful golden retriever. Can you just picture him and the dog, and they're sitting by the front door, waiting for Nancy to get back to River Heights, feathered tails just wagging with eager anticipation. Plus, now Ned will have someone to play ultimate frisbee with, or whatever sport he's chosen to take up at Emerson. And when Nancy, yet again, misses another anniversary dinner, the golden retriever will happily eat every bite of food with a very grateful heart. Please note that I do want Nancy and Ned to make it. So maybe knowing Ned has a very lovely dinner date already at home will help Nancy to, make choices not to miss another dinner date. I mean, dogs are wonderful dinner companions. At least Lilo thinks she is. Speaking of other dinner companions for Ned, just kidding. We have our self-proclaimed it girl, Deirdre Shannon, up next. At first, I think we can all agree she kind of gives more of a cat person vibes, at least a stereotype of a cat person, but since this video is not about cats, I had to switch my thinking around. Deirdre is sharp-tongued, takes great care in her appearance, and sometimes talks just to hear herself. If she had a dog, it would likely be one that would gain her more attention and be inspired by a celebrity or a character she wants to embody. So my mind immediately went to women like Paris Hilton or Elle Woods, and I imagined Deirdre looking at them and then begging her parents for a dog to carry around in a designer purse, originally using it as just an accessory. However, holding the puppy would change everything, and it would end up with matching beds beside hers and more bows than Minnie Mouse herself. The dog would want for nothing, and she would certainly go into crisis mode should anything ever happen to it. ND35, Nancy Drew and the Missing Pooch, Deirdre's Revenge. Not kidding. I think I've probably given away the dog breed at this point. It is the lovable, if not yappy, Chihuahua. But not just any Chihuahua, specifically the long-haired one, because Deirdre needs to brush the dog's hair 100 times a day. They definitely both go to the same hair salon and get the same full treatment every time. Manis, petties, the whole 9 yards. Chihuahuas are known for being yappy and aggressive, but often just need some extra love and patience to bring out the good side. We've seen Deirdre be both snarky and loyal to her own family, so it just takes accepting a few bite marks to get to the sweet side of Deirdre and her Chihuahua. So I could not make a video about main characters without mentioning two of our main men, Frank and Joe Hardy. As high-energy brothers, they deserve high-energy dogs. I went back and forth on this one a little bit, but the idea was actually presented to me by Jetpack of Gooba and Jetpack, and once it was in my head, I ran with it. The Hardy boys will each get their own dog, but of the same breed. So are you ready for this? Labrador Retrievers. And to make it even more adorable, Frank will get a chocolate lab, and Joe will get a yellow lab. And to make it even more adorable, they will come from the same litter, so that the Hardy boy puppies can grow up together like the Hardy boy brothers. Although I have already thought about how busy the Hardy boys are and how much training Labradors need, I recognize that they will 100% come back to a chewed up couch, but two wagging tails, and won't know which puppy to blame. But listen, when they do have time to train, it will not be your usual tricks. They'll teach those Labradors things like stealing a cheeseburger off your neighbor's grill, and distracting the suspect while we sneak into the back room by chewing up his shoe. And when they finally start their own detective agency, it already has a name. Labrador Mystery Retrievers. Or, something more clever than that. And last, but very not least, is our golf ball himself, Carson Drew. Somehow, this was one of the easiest ones I did for the video. This is pretty much what started my idea of doing this video in the first place. I focused on what we know about him based on the emails and the phone calls, since we don't ever actually play as Carson. Yet. He is a hardworking lawyer who's well respected in the community, but he tends to mess up some of those more mundane tasks. Whenever he has very little to do, he keeps himself busy with projects that require the beloved housekeeper, Hannah, to clean up after him, like in Danger on Deception Island. Imagine when he retires what it will do to poor Hannah. Carson needs a dog to keep him busy, or he just might tear down and rebuild the whole house finding activities to do. So as for Carson, I chose a greyhound. Greyhounds are known for running and running fast. But if you've ever watched documentaries about racehounds, which I have, they are often big couch potatoes after they retire and are looking for people who will keep them on a routine and give them lots of praise after hard working their whole lives. Carson and the greyhound could get up every morning and go for a run, and then take a nice, well-deserved nap on the couch after. Plus, if he's still bored, they can build an agility course. Which means Hannah has to finish the agility course. Anyways, picture a gray-haired Carson and a gray, furry greyhound strutting around River Heights, and it will just warm your heart. And now I can picture no other breed. And, well, that's it. That is all I have for the main characters and for this video. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments about what other breeds these characters might go with. If you have another character that you feel super strongly about, put that in the comments too, or just message me on Instagram. And all suggestions that I end up using will get referenced in the descriptions of each video. If you enjoyed this video that I have fretted over for many months before actually finally doing, consider liking the video and giving me a follow. You can also find me under Instagram on under the same name. So, thanks for sleuthing, y'all!